Hello guys, welcome to another video. This one is paper 2 from the year 2018 for Math D of the Specimen paper, as you can see here. So in this one, you will be able to use your calculator and also your instruments to help you draw your graphs and your locus. Now with that being said, let's move on to question number 1. So here we have Zara owns a hairdressing salon. She buys a pack of 60 bottles of shampoo from a warehouse for this much money. So the first thing we know is she bought 60 bottles for this price. So let's see how much does one bottle cost. Let's find out. So 60 bottle was 240. So one bottle will be 240 divided by 60. Now you can always do this with your head for sure, but since you can use a calculator, let's just use one. You're more confident that this will be the right answer, because in exam you tend to be more tense or stressed. You might make stupid mistakes. So let's just do that. One bottle is $4. You know this from the first information. Now, she plans to sell the bottle of shampoo to her customers at $5.50 each. Okay. Part 1. Calculate the percentage profit Zara makes on each bottle she sells for this. So to find the percentage profit, we have to find the profit first. Profit will be $5.50, selling price, minus the buying price, over the initial cost, which is the buying price, times 100 for the percentage. So 5.5 minus 4 divided by 4 times 100. That will be 37.5%. That is part 1. Now for part 2, Zara sells 45 bottles at $5.50, then sells the rest. So now, how many is the rest? So she bought 60 bottles in total. She sells 45, so the rest will be 15. You can check. 60 minus 45 will be 15 bottles will be the rest, with a 20% discount. Okay. Now, what is a 20% discount? So you can check. So basically, we know that the selling price was $5.50 times 20% to find the discount. That will be 20 divided by 100 times 5.5. That will be 1.1. So she sells the rest with a $1.1 discount. So what is the new selling price? Will be 5.5 minus 1.1. That will be the new selling price after the discount. Now, of course, that is one way of finding that. If you guys understand percentage, you can just do this directly. So let me explain to you guys. Usually we see the initial price as 100%. For example, in this question, right? And then when you give a 20% discount, what happens? You will say 100% minus 20%. That will be 80%. So the new price will be 80% of the initial price. So the new price, you can also find this by doing 80%, which is 0.8, because it is 80 over 100, times the old price. So that should give you the same answer. So let's check. 0.8 times 5.5, that will be 4.4. So as you can see, you have two ways of finding the new price, and this one will be the other way, which I think is easier. You can just do this minus 20 and then times this directly, or you can do step by step to find the new price as well. But that is not the question. The question is, calculate the total profit she makes selling all the 60 bottles. So as you guys know, profit is equal to sales minus cost, or revenue minus cost. Now sales will be, first she sells 45 bottles at 5.5, and plus the remaining was at 15 bottles at 4.4. And then all this minus the cost, which was 240 from part 1. 240, right? Now let's see what do we have for this one. So 45 times 5.5 plus 15 times 4.4 minus 240. So she will make 73 and 50 cents for this sale profit. Now for part 3, we have, when the warehouse sells a pack of shampoo for $2.40, it makes a profit of 15% off. Okay, sorry, not off. It makes a profit of 15%. calculate the price paid for the pack of shampoo by the warehouse. So pretty easy. So we know that costs, we don't know, right? But we know the selling price is 240. And 240 includes a profit of 15%. So it means that the price is 115%. Because as we mentioned above, initial price is always considered to be 100%. So we have to find this value here. So we just do ratio. We know 115% is equal to 240. So what is 100%? That will be 240 divided by 115 times 100. So 240 divided by 115 times 100, that will be this price. So let me try again. So 240 divided by 115 and times 100. So that will be the price. So 209, correct to 3SF for the cost price paid by the warehouse. Now for part 4, Zara borrows 2,500 from a bank, as you can see here. So that's the amount right? To make improvements to her salon. Now she's charged 4.5 compound interest on the amount. So now we know that this one is compound interest. We have to use a different formula because usually we have two kinds of interest that we know. One is simple interest and one is compound interest. Okay, now it says that she pays the money back after 3 years. 3 years, okay. Now calculate the total amount Zara must pay to the bank, correct to the nearest cent. Nearest cent means so cent is, so when you write cent, 1 cent is what? So 1 cent is 0.01, right? This is 1 cent. So nearest cent means to the nearest 2 decimal place. Okay, that's what it means. Now let's find out the amount that she has to pay back. So this is your P. P is the amount borrowed, which is the principal. And we have the rate is given by 4.5%, right? And also we have the time, which years is 3. So now we just have to replace back in your formula to find the amount after 3 years. So you know, for compound interest, amount is, we have this, and what do we have else? We have to make, so it will be of course P 1 plus R power T. That will be your formula for compound interest. Let's just do that. So P will be 2500, 1 plus R is 4.5% power 3. So this formula will not be given to you. You have to know by heart. So you have to memorize the formula. So this one is for compound interest. And what is the formula for simple interest? Pretty easy. It will be amount is equal to the principal plus I, which is the interest, which is equal to P RT. So this is for simple interest. This is for compound interest. Let's find the amount. 2,500, 1 plus 4.5 over 100 power 3. That will be 28,529,1,531. But we have to give your answer correct to the nearest cent. So that will be 2852.92, nearest cent. This is your answer for question part 4. Let's move on to part B of this question. So Zara can exchange dollars for pounds at the rate of this, and she can exchange dollars for euros at the rate of this. Okay, complete the statement below to show the exchange rate between pound and euros. So this is like solving a simultaneous equation. But if you observe, you will see you have this and this are the same. So basically it means that this much pounds is equal to this many euros. So we need this to become 1, so we divide by 0.64 on both sides. So on the right hand side you will have pounds become 1, and this will become 0.78 divided by 0.64, that will be 1.21875 euros. So your answer usually will write down to 3SF, so that will be, but this one is an exact value, so it's up to you. You can write exactly how much it is. It is 1.21875. This is the exact value. You can write that if you want to. Now that will be your question number 1. Let's move on to question number 2. So the table shows the test marks in math and physics for 10 students. Okay. Now we have the marks and for math and the marks for physics given to us. Now part 1. On the grid, complete the scatter diagram to show the math and the physics marks for the 10 students. The first 4 points has been given to you. So the first 4 done for you. So we have to this, and this. Now 5, 9. So 5 is here. 9 will be right here. Then we have 39, 37. 39 will be here. And 37 will be, this is 30, 36, 38, 37 will be between. And we have 48, 45. 48 is this one. And that will be 45. Will be this one. Then we have 40, 33. 40, 33. That will be 40 is here. So 40 is here. 33 will be 32. So 32, 33 is right here. Then we have 10, 16. So 10 is here. 16 will be right here. And then we have 15, 12, 15. 12 is right here. Okay, that is part 1 done for you. Now for part B, what type of correlation do you see in your diagram? So from what you can see, the direction is going up. So it has to be a positive correlation. So of course, you will write positive correlation. Okay. That is part 1. Now for part 3, we have to draw a line of best fit. So try your best to draw a line that passes through most of the points on the graph. So I'll try. So for me, I want to draw my line such that it is equally distributed on both sides. So what do I mean by that? I mean that when I draw my line, I see that on, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, kind of 4 as well on both sides, almost kind of the same distribution on both sides with a line just in between those points. So this one will be my line of best fit for this diagram. Now for part 4, we have Anne missed the physics test but scored 22 marks on the math test. Okay. Now use a line of best fit to estimate a possible physics mark for Anne. So 22 marks for math. So go to your graph and you have to find where is 22. It will be right here. Now you have to connect and then you have to find the corresponding value on your y-axis. Okay, that will be 22. So 22, 22 according to my line. So write down 22 as well for physics. Now for part B, we have to find the range of marks in the math test. So range, what does range mean? Range is the maximum mark. Let's write down range is max mark minus minimum mark. Okay, so what is the maximum mark obtained in the test? So we'll go back to here. The max mark obtained was 50. Okay, max is 50. And what is the minimum obtained? You can see it is 5. So 50 minus 5 will be 45. That is a range for math marks in this test. Now for part C, show that the mean marks for physics for the 10 students is 28. So how do you find mean? You know the formula. Mean is the sum divided by the number of students. So let's add all the physics marks together. So we have 26 plus 39 plus 35 plus 28 plus 9 plus 37 plus 45, 33 plus 16 plus 12. And divide by 10, that will be 28. So shown as required, that will be 280 divided by 10 equal to 28. This is shown as required. And that is your part C. Let's move on to part D now. So we have two new students do the physics test. Okay, so we have two new now. They both score the same mark. The mean mark for the 12 students is 31. Okay, so pretty easy. Calculate the physics marks for the new students. Okay, so pretty easy. So since we know already that we have 12 students, the mean has been given to us as 31. But what is the sum? So use your formula again. We know that mean is equal to sum divided by number of students. So sum is equal to, you cross multiply, you will have the mean times number of students. That will be 31 times 12, that is 372. Now, we know from the part question C, the sum, the initial sum, let's call it I sum, it was 280. This is the new sum. So what is the difference? It is 372 minus 280. So the difference will be the sum of the score of the two students. But now you know that they both score the same mark, so it will be 92 divided by 2 for each of them. That will be 46. So 46 will be the mark for the new student. Okay, that will be for part D. Now for part E, we have two of the original 10 students are chosen at random. So we chose two of them. Okay. Now we have to work out the chance that both students scored less than 20 in the math test. Okay. So less than 20 in the math test. So now we have to count how many students scored less than 20 in the math test. So if you go back to your table, let's see. So 30, no. That will be 1, 2, and 3. So we only have 3 of them who scored less than 30 in the math test. So the first one will be 3 over 10, and the second one will be 2 over 9. Okay, that will be 1 over 15. Okay, so both students scored less than 20 will be 1 over 15 for question part E. Because we realized that number of students who scored less than 20 was only 3, and the sum of students was 10. Of course, this one is a selection without replacement. So for the first one, it will be 3 over 10, and then because we don't replace them, we have to multiply by 2 because 1 has been selected already, over 9 in total, so you get this one. That will be part E. Let's move on to question number 3. So here we have what? We have the grid shows triangle A and the line L. So we have this graph given to you. Now, part 1, triangle A, let me read this to you. Triangle A is mapped onto triangle B by a reflection in the line L. So how would you reflect that? So I would say let's try this. Let's turn this way. And we can just count now. We can count 1, half. So it will be half, 1, it will be here. This one is 1, 2, half, half, 1, 2. And this one, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so now we just have to join the points to form the triangle B. That is your triangle B. Now, that is part 1 done. Now part 2, triangle A is mapped onto triangle C by a clockwise rotation of 90 degrees about this center. So 0, 3 will be here. So we have to rotate this one by 90 degrees clockwise. Clockwise will be in this direction. So pretty easy. If you think about this, if you were to rotate this by 90, it will look something like this, right? So same logic. So this will become, so 90, this point will become, well, become here, and this point. So let me see, because this one seems to be awkward, because it seems to be outside the range. So 0, 3, okay, I made a mistake. It is not 3, 0. The rotation is 0, 3, is this one. Okay, that makes sense now because it will be outside the range if this was the point. Okay, so that is not the point of rotation, it is this one. So same thing, if you look at this way, if you were to rotate this by 90, it will be looking in this direction. So let's try our best. So this point where it will be. So it was 1, 2, 3. So we have to count 1, 2, 3. It will be right here. How about this one? It is 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It will be right here. How about this one? This one is basically how you can look at this is it is 1, 2 from this one. We know this one is this one, so we count 1, 2 from this one. Okay, so we just have to join them to form the triangle. C. Rotation of 90 degrees clockwise has to be facing downwards with this on the same side facing downwards. That will be part 2. Now for part 3, triangle C is mapped onto triangle D by a reflection on the line L. Okay, now question is, describe the single transformation that maps B onto D. Okay, so let's see, where's D first? Let's find out. Let's map C onto L. So C is here. Again, let's map that. You will have, this will become 1 half, so half, half, 1 half, half 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. So this will be the points. Okay, so that will be a triangle D. Now, so the main question is, from that, you realize that you want to know, describe the single transformation that maps B onto D. So everything is connected together if you observe, because to obtain for obtain B from A, it was a reflection of A on the line L. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, to obtain C from A, it was a rotation 90 degrees clockwise to obtain C from A. So same way, since it is a reflection, to obtain D from B, it will be also a rotation, but 90 degrees anti-clockwise about the same center. So that will be why it is connected. So let's write down. So it will be a rotation, center, 0, 3. It is a anti-clockwise rotation. Of 90 degrees. So basically, as long as you mention this one, rotation and the angle, you will get your 3 marks. That will be question part 3, part A. Now let's move on to part B. We have the line P is parallel to the line L. Okay, we have another line now. It's called the line P, but it is parallel to L. Okay, now passes through this point. Find the equation of line P. So whenever a line is parallel to the other line, you have to know that they have the same gradient. So what is the gradient of line L? So there's many ways to find the gradient of a line. You can find 2 points on the line to find the gradient. That is up to you. You can take this point and then use your formula to find the gradient. You can do that. Or what I like to do is I like to form a right angle triangle, for example, and then find the height. So this is my, for example, that is my right angle triangle. I can make triangle here. The height is 1 and the base is also 1. So my gradient is 1. Or as I explained, if you don't understand this, no problem. Just take 2 points. Take 1 point here and take another point here. This is the point 1, 4. This is the point 4, 7. So gradient will be y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. That will be 3 over 3. It is 1. So from that we conclude that the gradient of line P is also 1. Now to find the equation we have to use the passing point. So y minus the value 5 over x minus the value 0. So I get this question a lot, is where do I get the fraction? So it is just a way of finding the equation of a line by using your passing point. This one is your x value, this one is your y value. So you take y on top minus 5 over x minus 0 is equal to the value of the gradient. Now we cross multiply, you will have y minus 5 is equal to x, y is x plus 5. And that is your answer for part B. Now let's move on to part C. The line R is perpendicular to line L. So we have another line now, it is perpendicular to line L and passes through this point. We have to find the equation of the line R. So we know the gradient of L is 1. So from this we know that the gradient of R has to be minus 1 because they are perpendicular. Now to find the equation, same steps again. This is x, y. So y minus 0, over x minus 0 is equal to minus 1 over 1. Cross multiply, you will have y is equal to minus x. So that will be my equation. That is for part C of question number 3. Let's move on to question number 4. Now we have a trapezium A, B, C, D. So we have A, B, C, and D. Now with BC parallel to AD. So BC parallel to AD. Okay. Now the E is a point on AD. So E is a point on AD such that BE is perpendicular to AD. Okay, good to know. And then we have all these other informations. Now part 1 we have to find the angle BAE. So where is the angle? BAE will be this angle. So how can you find this angle? If you observe, we have a right angle triangle. We can find this, let's call this one theta, by using SOHCAHTOA, right? So let's use SOHCAHTOA to find the which one should we use. So here we have this side is called your A side, your adjacent side, so A and A. This one is your opposite side, so O and O. So this one has the most ticks, so we have to use tan of the angle has to be, of course it is defined by opposite side over adjacent side, which is 18 over 7. Now from this, theta will be tan inverse 18 over 7. So let's find the value. That will be 68.7. So your value will be 68.7 degrees for your angle BAE. Now for part 2, the area of the trapezium. So how do you find area of trapezium? A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D. Now we know that it is defined by a formula. Area of trapezium is given by half times sum of parallel sides, so 7 plus ED, we need this side, right? And then plus this side, sum, that will be 9, and times the perpendicular height, which is 18, that we have. So here we are only missing the value of ED, so we have to find ED. So how can you find ED? Let's observe. So again, if you observe, we have a BED is a right angle triangle, and you want to find this side. This side is your A side, this one is your O side. You have to use tan again. So tan of 55 is equal to 18 over ED. So ED has to be 18 divided by tan of 55. That will be 12.6. So this is 12.6. ED is 12.6. So replace back in your equation, you will have half, and then you will have 7 plus 9 is 16 plus 12.6 times the height is 18. half 16 plus 12.6 times 18. That will be 257.4 for the area of trapezium. Now, of course, you will write your answer correct to 3SF. Okay, that will be your answer for part 2 of this question. Now let's move on to part B of this question. So we have another trapezium. We have the angle PQR is 112 and PRS is 41. Okay. Now what else do we know? It says it is measured to the nearest degree. Okay. So nearest degree is 1 degree. Okay, so now we have to find the smallest possible value of QRP. QRP is this angle. So first we have to know how can you find this angle, right? So we have to kind of play with the shape a bit so we can understand what's happening. So what I like to do is I like to extend those parallel lines. It helps me to understand what's happening. So if I do this, what do I see? I see that because these two lines are parallel and they are joined by a line here, this angle is equal to this angle. Okay, so if you want to find this angle, let's say you will have to do 180 minus 41 minus 112 to get this angle. But now it is not as simple as that because we are trying to find the smallest possible value of this angle. So the reason why we can find this is because they have given us this information. So basically we have to find the upper and lower bound of the angle given to us. So 41 plus minus, so we take 1 divided by 2. So upper bound will be 41.5, lower bound will be 40.5. Now same thing for this one, 112 plus minus 1 divided by 2. That will be 112.5, 111.5. Now to find the smallest possible value of an angle given by, we're taking the whole value minus minus, so the angle has to equal to 180 minus something maximum, so we can have something minimum as your value, if that makes sense, right? Because if you minus something minimum, your answer will be something maximum, so you want to minus something maximum, which is these two angles, so we can find the value to be a minimum value, equal to minus maximum. So what is the max of this one? It will be 41.5. This one will be 112.5. So by taking the maximum values of these angles, only then your value for the subtraction will give you a minimum value. So 41.5 plus 112.5, 180 minus answer, that will be 26. So 26 degrees will be your smallest possible value for that angle. That will be question number 4, part B. Now let's move on to question number 5. So we have to write down 84 as a product of its prime factors. So as always, step by step, 84 divided by 2, 42, divided by 2, 21, divided by 7, you will have 3. There you go. So 84 is equal to 2 power 2 times 3 times 7. Now for part 2, we have n is a 2-digit number. So we don't know what is n, but we know that n is a 2-digit number. So what does it mean to be a 2-digit number? So we basically, when we write 2, when we write 3, it is called a 1-digit number. Now let's see if you write 13, 24, 65. So these two are 2-digit numbers. Okay, so n is a 2-digit number. Now, the lowest common multiple of 84 and n is 504. Find the value of n. So how can you find that? We have to try to find the LCM of those two numbers. So we know that 84 is equal to 2 power 2 times 3 times 7. n we just don't know what it is for now, but we know the LCM is equal to 5 this. Now, one thing we can do is we can find out what is what if happens if you take this divided by this. 504 divided by 84 give you 6. Okay, so this divided by 84, you will have 6 remaining. So this 6 remaining will be taken from this value, if that makes sense. Yeah, so basically this number here has to be the same thing or not, because it only has to be a 2-digit number. So let's see how can we compromise this. So 6 is what? 6 is 2 times 3, right? So you will put, so let's write down the factors of 50. This is 504. It will be 2 power 3, 3 power 2, and 7 times 7. So let's check. 2 power 3 times 3 power 2 times 7, 504, right? This is 504. Now, given that n is only a 2-digit number, let's see what are the possible values of n. So n can equal to what? It can equal to, I feel like there may be many possible answers. So one value, let's say we don't know this for now, n can be, first value is 504. That is the first value it can be. But it will not be possible because it is only 2-digit number. And the other value it can be, we can try to divide by, let's say we divide by, so we need to have this one, not possible. We need to have this, and we don't need to have this, because divide by 7, 2 power 3 times 3 power 2. That will be 72. So 72 could be an answer for n. Why? Because if you were to take the LCM for those two values, 72, this is 2 power 2 times 3 times 7. That will be 72 is 2 power 3 times 3 power 2. That is 72. So the LCM for those two numbers have to equal to 2 power 3 times 3 power 2 and times 7, which is 504. So by conclusion, since this one is a 2-digit number, n has to be 72. So basically the way I found this is, first you find the prime factors of 504, you will get this. And now you have to understand, how do you find LCM usually? Usually you will look at your prime factors. Here we have 2, 3, and 7 as your prime factors for these two numbers, right? Now, for example, you will choose the one which has the most power to find the LCM. For example, I have 2 here. I'll compare those two numbers. I would say, okay, since the power is high here, I will take this value. Okay, that is my value for this one. And for 3, since my power is higher here, I will take this value. And for 7, since 7 is only here, I will take 7. So these two numbers give me this perfect LCM. So you have to understand that n could be 504 or it could be this one. Because it is mentioned that n is only a 2-digit number, that's why we can only choose this one and not 504. This one will be 72 as your answer. So you have to play with these numbers and come up with a 2-digit number, which will be giving you LCM of this. So if that makes sense, the final point is, whenever you find the prime factors of this, you just have to play with those numbers and then come up with a number which is only have 2-digit and not 3. You will choose to be your answer. Okay, that is your part 2 of this question. Now for part B, we have a sets A, B, C are shown in the Venn diagram. Okay, now we have the universal set is numbers from 1 to 18. Okay, now A is an even number, so you have to write down A has to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and 18. And B is a multiple of 5. It can be 1 times 5, 2 times 5, 3 times 5. That will be B. Now we have to find what is the number of elements of A union B. So pretty easy. We just count everything, but just don't repeat the same numbers. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 will be this one. Because 10 is already happened here, we don't count the same number twice. Okay? So except 10, we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 numbers will be part 1. Now for part 2, given that A intersecting B prime intersecting C prime is equal to this one. List the members of C. So first you have to know what does this mean. So A intersecting B prime, so intersecting outside of B, or if you want to, we can do this. A intersecting, let's put bracket, B. This will become union, C bracket, is equal to 2, 6, 14, and 18. So what is this set? B union C prime. Outside of those two, the value that doesn't belong in those two, intersecting this is this. So basically the values that is only A has this as their value. So this is only A. This set is only A. Everything outside of these two will be only A has these elements. Now you can replace here, you can have a look. That will be 2, 6, 14, and 18. Now you know this here we only have 10 in common, and B here we have only 5 and 15. So remaining values will be inside of C. So C is what? It will be 1, 3, so not 3, because C is inside of A, it cannot be 3. 3 will be outside, sorry. C will be having those values inside, but not this one. So it has to be not even 1, has to be 4, 6, 8, 10 is not good, 12, 14, 16. Okay, so this will be the values of C. Because C is inside of A, we know that C is a subset of A. So C belongs to the value of A. So C will be these values, but not these values, because these values are only A. Everything remaining from those values will be the value of a C. So let's write this down. It will be a set of 4, 8, 12, and 16. And the rest will be outside. For example, 1 will be outside. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17. So these values will be outside. The odd numbers that is not in those two will be outside of your sets. But you don't need to write that. You can just leave this as your answer for part 2. Now moving on to part B. Describe the set C in words. So the set C has been given by 4, 8, 12, and 16. So as you can see, C is a multiple of 4. 1 times 4, 2 times 4, 3 times 4, 4 times 4. So it is multiple of 4. That is part B. Now part C, we have a school offers piano lessons and flute lessons to a group of 50 children. So we know everything together, we have 50 children. Now of these children, 28 attend piano, 17 attend flutes, and 12 attend neither flute or piano. So in these questions, it's always best to draw something to help you. So let's draw 2 sets, right? This is a piano, this is flute, and this is your Venn diagram. Okay, so we know that 12 attend neither. This one we don't know this one, but we know that piano is 28 minus x, only piano. 17 minus x is only flute. So we have to find the value of only piano. We have to find 28 minus x. What is that value? But first we have to find the value of x for that to be possible. So we know that 28 minus x plus 17 minus x plus 12 will give you a total value of 50. Now these two will cancel out. So you have 28 plus 17 plus 12 will be 57 minus x is equal to 50. X will be 57 minus 50. That will be 7. So from this you can derive your value of this one. Only piano will be this one, which is 21. So 21 will be your answer for question part C. And that is your question number 5. Let's move on to question number 6. The table shows some values of x and the corresponding value of y for this equation. Okay, now part 1, complete the table, pretty easy. Replace the value of x in your equation. You will have, so minus 1.5 will be my answer, so 2, answer cube, minus 3, answer square, plus 5. That will be minus 8.5. So I always like to double check in case if I may make any mistakes. So 2 times minus 1.5 power 3 minus 3 minus 1.5. So let's do 1.5 square plus 5. That will be minus 8.5. Good. Now let's move on to part 2 now. Using a scale of 4 centimeters to represent 1 unit on the horizontal axis. Minus 5 till 2. So let's do that first. But here also you can see we have negative values from minus 10 till 10 using 2 to represent 5 units. So now you have to calibrate your graph so you can draw this properly, right? You don't want something to be outside of your graph, so you have to count. So here we have to use 2 centimeters for 5 units. So count, it will be from here. So minus 10, minus 5, that will be so 0, 5, and 10. So we can definitely go up a bit. Let's use values from, say right here, that will be minus 10, 2 centimeters, that will be minus 5, and 0. Let's say we're going to start here for the y-axis. Now for the x values, we have to look, we have minus 5, and then this. So once you figure out your y, you can just start your y from that point on. No big deal. So let's first draw this horizontal line. So just to recap, the first thing you need to figure out is your y-axis. So once you do that, you can just connect this one to this one, and then you can just first plot your, and then you know this, it will be here. Your x-axis has to be here. And now you just have to find the position for your y-axis, okay? So x has to be starting from minus 1.5 to 5. But here we have to use 4 centimeters for 1 unit. So we have to count. Basically, this means 1. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 1. But here we have minus 1.5. So we're going to begin here at minus 1.5. Now we have to use 1, 2, 3, 4. That will be minus 0.5, 1, 2, 3, 4. That will be, so we have to add 1 basically. 0.5, 1, 2, 3, 4. That will be, the value will be 1.5, and 1, 2, that will be value of 2. This is your x-axis. Now, of course, we can label everything now. This is 2, this should be 1, this should be 0, and that should be minus 1. Now, we have the value of 0. We have to draw your y-axis on this line. Okay, so now your scale you have been given here using 2 centimeters for 5 units. So 2 centimeters will be 1, 2 is 5, 1, 2, 10. So you have 5 and 10 right here. Same thing, minus 5 and minus 10 right here. We only need from minus 10 to 10, and this is minus 1.5 to 2. That is enough. Now let's continue this one and label this as your y, this is as your x, and now we can plot the points. So the first point that I have is minus 1.5, minus 8.5. So this is minus 1.5 here, and minus 8.5 will be well. So this is minus 6, minus 7, minus 8, minus 8.5 will be right here. And then we have minus 1, 0 will be here. Then we have minus 0.54 will be right here. And we have 0.5 right here. 0.5, 4.5 will be right here. It's 4, 4.5, and 1.4 will be right here. So 1.4, 0.5, 4.5, 1.4 will be this one. And then we have 1.5 will be 5. 5 is here. And then 2 will be 9. 9 will be this one. Okay, so as you can see, we have a shape that we can plot for these points. So let's just join them with a smooth curve. So of course you will be using a pencil. So if your graph is not smooth, you can always erase and try again. So it is very important that your graph is smooth because your answers depends on your graph. Okay, that's why you have to make sure that you draw your graph pretty smoothly. Okay, so it will look something like this, and this will be your graph of y, 2x cubed minus 3x squared plus 5. You have to label your graph in the end. Now let's move on to part 3. Use your graph to estimate the gradient of the curve when x equal to 1.5. So where's the point 1.5? It will be right here. So to find the gradient, we have to draw a line which touches this point at only the curve at only this point. So let's see, it should be about in this direction, approximately, right? Now we have to find 2 points on 2 sides. We have this point, and we can use this point. This point is 1 and 2.5. This one is 1.75, and that will be 6. So let's use those 2 points to find the gradient of your curve at this point. So that will be 1, 2.5, and 1.75, and 6. M will be 6 minus 2.5 over 1.75 minus 1. 6 minus 2.5 divided by 1.75 minus 1. That will be 4.23. That will be my value for my gradient. I can use decimal place, 4.67, correct to 3SF, up to you. So your graph, your line may vary, it may not be the same, but you have to show your work of how did you find your gradient. That is the most important thing for this kind of question, okay? Now for part 4, by drawing a suitable line on your graph, we have to find the solution to this one. So we have to observe, what is this equation? So whenever you have something like this, when it tells you to draw a line, you have to understand that it is asking you to find the equation of the line first by using your initial equation of your curve. So just to explain, you know your curve is equal to what? Your curve is this 2x cubed minus 3x squared plus 5. Now what do you observe? You observe that this part is the same as this part. So in those cases, we can make this become your subject of formula. So you will have 2x, this minus this, is equal to y minus 5. So replace this by this in this equation. So you will have y minus 5 plus 4 is equal to 0. So y is equal to 1. So you have to draw this line. Y equal to 1, it is a horizontal line at value 1. So let's do that. So it will be 1 is this one. So this is your line, and you of course have to label the line, and the solution will be the point of intersection will be right here, and this one is minus this value is what? Minus 0.9 as your value. According to my graph, but your answer may be different, but it should be somewhere around here as well for the value of x. Okay, it will be the point of intersection of that line and your curve. So you have to show that for your marks. Okay, now let's move on to part B of the question. So here we have another curve, as you can see, and we have the values here given to you for those 2 points. Now the graph shows a sketch for this curve. The 2 points are given to you. Find the values of P and Q. So one by one. Let's first find the value of P. So use this point. This is the X value. This is the Y value. Replace back in the equation. You will have 0.4 is equal to P over 3. So P will be 3 times 0.4. That will be 1.2. So P is 1.2. Now to find the value of Q now, we have to use our equation. So Y is equal to P is 1.2 divided by X. Now to find the value of Q, we have to replace Q in our equation. So we know this is X, this is Y. So Y is 2.4 is equal to 1.2 divided by Q. X is Q now, right? Now make Q become your subject of formula. So Q will be 1.2 divided by 2.4. That will be what? 0.5. That will be your answer for Q. Now that will be part 1. Let's do number 2. Now calculate the gradient of the straight line joining those 2 points. So pretty easy. We just need to use our equation, right? So it is y2, which is 2.4 minus y1, and x2, Q is 0.5 minus 3. So 2.4 minus 0.4 divided by 0.5 minus 3, that will be minus 0.8. So gradient of that line will be minus 0.8. And this will be your question number 6. Let's move on to question number 7. So here we have to solve this equation. Solving means to find the value of x. So first step is to expand the brackets. You will have 3x minus 15 is equal to 5x minus 7. Now let's send all the x to one side and all the numbers to one side. So you will have minus 15 plus 7, 5x minus 3x. So this will give you 2x is equal to minus 8, x will be minus 4. But let's double check. Minus 15 plus 7 minus 8. Your answer will be minus 4. Now for part B, we have to solve the simultaneous equation. So here again, we have two methods of solving this question. One is by elimination and one is by substitution. But I like doing by substitution. I will do that on this question. So let's make y become my subject. Y will be 2x minus 6. Now replace y by this in this equation. So we have 4x plus 3y is 2x minus 6 is equal to minus 3. Now expand, simplify. This will become 6x minus 18 equal to minus 3. That will be 10x is equal to minus 3 plus 18. 10x will be 15. X will be 1.5. So from this you can find the value of y. Y will be 2 times x, 1.5 minus 6. That will be 3 minus 6 will be minus 3. So here you go. Your values for x is 1.5 and y will be minus 3. That is your question, part B of 7. Let's move on to part C of this question. We have to express as a single fraction in its simplest form. So the first thing we realize is that these two have different bases, so we have to find the LCM. So in this case, we can just multiply them by each other. So basically, we multiply them by each other. This times this base. So then we have to cross multiply. So 7 times this one. So minus 4 times p plus 2. So now we just have to simplify. So what do you have? 14p minus 21 minus 4p minus 8 over p plus 2, 2p minus 3. So 14 minus 4 is 10p. And that will be minus 29 over this base. So you can leave your answer just like that. It is enough for your full marks. If you want to expand, you can also expand as well. It is up to you. But that will be the simplest form. You can express this fraction as one fraction. Now for part D, we have to simplify this one. So in this case, we have to look at one by one. The top value is what? The top value is y squared minus 9. Now you observe, what is 9? 9 can also be 3 squared. So we can factorize. There will be y plus 3 and y minus 3. That will be your top value. Now how about this one? How do you factorize this one? You have 2 y squared minus y minus 15. It can be factorized by two brackets. 2y is 2y, so 2y squared is 2y times y. 15 is 3 times 5. So we can put 3 here and 5 here. Why? Because we need to have minus 1. To get minus 1, we have to have minus 6, which is this times this will be minus 6 and plus 5. Now we can simplify. So this over this, which means this over this, if you realize these two are the same, it goes away. So you have y plus 3 divided by 2y plus 5. That will be your answer for part D of question number 7. Now question number 8, we have the diagram shows two circles of equal radii. Okay, so they have the same circle basically, they have the same size, we have two circles. Now we have A, E, and C are points on the circle with center B. Okay, so A, E, and C, center EB. Now we have B, E, D, F. So B, E, D, F are points on the other circle with center C. Okay, so now we have A, B, C, D is a straight line. So A, B, C, D is a straight line. Okay, so let's see what can we do to compare. Because the question here is what? It is show that triangles A, E, C and F, B, E are congruent. Congruent means show that they are the same triangle. So one way to show they are the same is showing that they have all the angles, not the angles because we can show all the three sides are the same, or we can show that the angle in between and the two sides, corresponding sides, are the same as well. So let me show you guys, okay? So first, where is this one? AEC is this triangle, AEC. And then FBE is this one. Okay, so first let's begin with the first triangle, AEC. So let's forget about the other one. So we have this circle here. We have center B. We have AEC. Now, when you have diameter, we have a triangle over a diameter. You have to know that this angle here will be 90 degrees. That's the first thing we can derive. Now, observing this triangle, since both of this triangle, since both of this circle are the same, but let's look at one by one. What is BC? BC is your radius, so we know this is R, and AB is also your radius. This is R. So AC will be 2R. Okay, I agree. Now, same thing. Let's go back to this one now. Now, if you were to rotate this way, you will realize that triangle FBE is also on a diameter, which means this angle here is also 90. Now, this is also your radius, and this is also your radius. Agree? And this is, so based on this one, BE is also the radius of the triangle. Okay, let's see what else do we have. Can we derive from this one? The radius of the other one. We have this, we have this. Now, is this enough to prove that they are congruent? So let's check one by one. So let's see what can we write still. So the first thing we can write is, let me see if that's enough, because there's many more things we can do to confirm that they are really the same. Okay, so basically yes, because since we have a right angle triangle, which is A, let's write down first. So we can first write down triangle AEC and triangle FBE are right angle triangles. So we have confirmed this, right? Our right angle triangles. So I hope that is clear. The first point you can see they are right angle triangle. Okay. Now, because I'm saying right angle means that they have the 90 degrees angle. They both have the same 90 degrees angle. Now, the next step is, I say that to prove they are congruent, one of the ways is to prove that they all have the corresponding sides are equal. So the sides are equal. That's how you can prove they are the same, right? So I can write for this triangle AEC, first point here I can write this. AEC, I can write AC is equal to 2R, and correspondingly, if you look at this, FE is also equal to 2R. So that's my first point. FE is also equal to 2R. That's the first side I've shown they are equal. Now, number 2, I can write CE is equal to R, which is radius, right? And on the other triangle, if you look at this one, it will say F, so EB is also equal to R. That is my other corresponding side are equal. So since it is a right angle triangle, so we know that from the third sides, which is going to be AE, has to be equal to the other side, which is BF, by Pythagoras theorem. Okay, so if you guys don't understand, take your time to observe one by one what I'm trying to explain, and you will understand what I'm trying to say. Basically, in the end, I've proved that all the 3 corresponding sides are equal, and by that you have proven that the triangles AEC and FBE are congruent. So this question, if you don't understand, take your time, go to the solutions one by one and observe on the triangle one by one. Take your time and understand what I'm trying to say. So basically my whole point here is I'm trying to prove that all the corresponding sides are equal in those 2 triangles by showing they are the same and they are congruent. Okay, that is the way I'm going with this part 1. Now for part 2, state another triangle which is congruent to AAC. So pretty easy. If you would observe, we have another one which is BFD, because it is the same, just in the other direction. So you have triangle BFD. Now part 3, explain why EB is parallel to DF. So first let's find out where are those 2 lines. Why EB is this one is parallel to DF. So why are they parallel? So pretty easy, because these 2 angles are 90 degrees. Okay, see, that's why they have to be parallel. So let's write down one of the explanation. You can write down because angle EBF is 90 is equal to angle DFB. That's why it has to be parallel. Okay, that is one of the and of course because they are joined by the line, and join because the points B and F are joined by BF, right? Because of this main reason, as you can see here, these 2 angles, their sum is 180, right? Because 90 and 90, the sum is 180. They have to be parallel with each other. That's what it means basically. Okay, so that will be so let's write this down, because that will be a better answer actually. Because sum of the angles EBF and angle DFB is 180. But by writing this, I am trying to say this, so this will be a better answer why it is parallel. That will be part A. Now let's move on to part B of the question. So here we have what? We have P and Q are points on the circle O with radius 4. So this is also 4 here. Now we have the angle POQ is 130. So find the area of triangle POQ. So pretty easy. Use your formula, half times sine of the angle 130 and times the 2 sides 4 times 4. So half times 4 times 4 times sine of 130. That will be 6.13. Correct to 3SF for your value. Now for part 2 we have what? Calculate the area of the major segment, the unshaded region. So it is asking us to find this area. So there's many ways to find this. You can first find this one and take the whole circle minus this one, sorry. So let's do that. What is the area of the circle? So circle area, it is pi r square, which is 16. That will be 16 pi will be area of the whole circle. Now, what is the area of this region that we don't need? Okay, we can find this by taking the area of the sector, then minus area of triangle. So let's call this one B. So area of B can be found by using area of sector, which is 130 divided by 360 times pi r square, pi 4 square, minus area of triangle, which is 6.13. 130 divided by 360 times 16 pi. Oh, sorry. Let's try again. So 130 divided by 360 times 16 pi minus 6.13. That will be 12.0. Correct to 3SF. Now this is area of B. So finally, to find the area that you need, area of whole circle minus 12. 16 pi minus answer. That will be 38.2 as your area of your major segment. And that will be your question number 8. So as you can see, we did step by step, thinking logically. How can you find this? You will always find your answer by thinking logically for maths. So that will be your question number 8. Let's move on to question number 9. So now we have the distance between London and York is 320 km. Okay, we know the distance. A train takes X hours to travel from London to York. That is the time taken. Now, write down an expression in terms of X for the average speed of the train in km per hour. So pretty easy. As you guys know by now, speed is equal to distance divided by time. So speed has to be distance, 320 divided by time. So 320 over X will be your answer. Now for part B, we have a car takes 2.5 hours longer than the train to travel between those two. So same distance of 320, but the car takes longer, so it takes X plus 2.5 hours longer. Now, the average speed of the train was 80 km higher than the average speed of the car. So first, let's find the average speed of the car. So SC will be distance divided by time. That is your average speed of the car. And from the information we know is that average speed of the train was this one, 320 over X minus 320 over X plus 2.5 has to equal to 80 as given by this information. So now we have to solve this equation to show this can be transformed into this. So one by one, let's first simplify this side. You will have the same base by cross multiplying. You will have X times X plus 2.5, and then we cross multiply. You will have 320 X 2.5 times 320. That will be plus 800 minus 320x by cross multiplying. It is equal to 80. Now we again simplify and cross multiply. So these two will cancel out. So you will have 800 is equal to 80 times x plus 2.5 this. Now we can divide by 80 on both sides. 1. This will be 10. So you have 10 is equal to x squared plus 2.5 x. So let's put everything to one side. You will have x squared plus 2.5 x minus 10 equal to 0. But now since we have 2.5 here, we can multiply 2 by everywhere. You will have 2x squared plus 5x minus 20 is equal to 0. This is the same as this one. So this is shown as required. That is part B of the question. So let's move on to part C. Now we have to solve the equation, giving you answers correct to 2 decimal places. So we have to use your formula for that. So x has to be minus b is minus 5 plus minus b squared, which is 5 squared minus 4 times a times c. That will be 185. And divide by 2a, that is 4. Okay, so just so you know, a has to be 2, b is 5, and c is minus 20. Because these are the values we use for your formula to get this one. Now x has to be, first value is minus 5 minus root of 185 divided by 4. That is minus 4.65. Correct to 2 decimal place. Next one, minus 5 plus root of 185 divided by 4. That is 2.15. Now write down your answers. First one is minus 4.65 or 2.15. Now for part D, hence find the average speed of the car correct to the nearest km per hour. Now what is x again? X is the average speed. We will not take x to be negative, obviously. We will take the value of x to be 2.15. So average speed of the car was given by, from part B, it was this divided by this. So that will be 320 divided by x is 2.15 plus 2.5. Sorry, that was x. X is what again? Oh, x is the time taken. Good. So I'm good. So this is good. 320 divided by 2.15 plus 2.5. That will be 68.817. So we have to give your answer correct to the nearest 1 km per hour. So you will be 69 km per hour for your answer. And that will be your question number 9. Let's move on to your question number 10. Okay, that will be the last question of this paper. So it was a long paper, but I definitely hope you guys understand how to do those questions, which is the most important thing, is to understand how to do those questions. Now, part 1, here we have a triangle ABC. So the first thing here we have to do what? We have to show that BC is equal to this. So how can you show that? We know AC is 5 centimeters shorter than BC. Okay, so AC is 5. So let's first, what is this angle? If you need that angle, let's see what is this angle. 180 minus 65 minus 45. That is 70. So it seems that we don't need this one. And let's use this information. AC is 5 centimeters shorter than BC. BC is here. AC will be, so we have to give a name to this one. So AC is this one, is 5 centimeters shorter than BC. So that will be BC minus 5. If that makes sense, right? Because AC is 5 less than BC. So that will be the value for that. Now, we have to show BC is equal to this. So let's form an equation by using our sine rule. So this is this, and this is this. So we write down BC, this BC over this one, sine of 65 is equal to BC minus 5 over sine of 45. This is your sine rule. You have to know how to use that for this one. So basically the main point is, when you have an angle, the side opposite, we write the side on top, the angle, the corresponding angle below, it has to equal to the other side corresponding and the corresponding angle below. So that's the main point of the sine rule. Okay, now we have to make BC become your subject of formula. So you will have BC is equal to BC sine of 65, and you will have what here? So BC sine of 65 minus 5 sine of 65 over sine of 45. So we have to send this over here as well. You will have BC sine of 45, BC sine of 65 minus 5 sine of 65. So let's send this over here and this over here. You will have BC sine of 65 minus BC sine of 45 is equal to 5 sine of 65. Now from this we can make BC become your subject. It will be BC outside sine of 65 minus sine of 45 is equal to 5 sine of 65. So BC is equal to 5 sine of 65 divided by sine of 65 minus sine of 45. This is shown as required. Now for part B, find the length of BC, so we just have to equate this equation. So solve this. 5 sine of 65 divided by sine of 65 minus sine of 45. That will be 22.7. Correct to 3SF for the value of BC. Let's move on to part B of this question. So here we have a triangle as well, PQR, and we have PQ 13, and we have all the sides of the triangle given to you, and QR is produced to S. Okay, now part 1, we have to what? Find the value of cos PRQ, giving you answers as a fraction in its simplest form. So let's see how can you find that. So PRQ will be this angle. Okay, so one thing we can do here is we can use your formula, because you know that if you have a triangle, if you know all the three sides, you can use your cosine rule, right? So cos of the angle PRQ has to be equal to what? So we have 6 square plus 10 square minus 13 square divided by 2 times 6 times 10. That will be your cosine rule. 6 square plus 10 square minus 13 square divided by 2 times 6 times 10. That will be fractional, it will be minus 11 over 40, fractional wise. So this will be minus 11 over 40 as your answer. Now hence write down the value of cos PRS. So PRS is this one. So what is PRS? So PRS is simply equal to 180 minus PRQ. So basically here we want to find cos of 180 minus PRQ, which is equal to minus cos of PRQ. That will be 11 over 40 as your answer. Using this, hence you have to use your value from the first part to help you with that. So yeah, that should be your answer for this question. But if you are not sure, you can always check, right? You can always check using your calculator. That's the good thing about this. You can always check the value. So let's see, we count. Let's check. So cos, so here we have minus, the answer is this one. Cos inverse will give you this angle. Supposedly this angle has to be 105.96, which means this has to be 180 minus answer 74.038. Now what is cos of this value? You can check, which is positive value. So you see, you can always check using your calculator to find this value as well. So that will be your last question of this paper. That was question number 10, and I hope this was helpful. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.